Hello my dears, welcome back to Let It Cook cooking channel. Today we're making beetroot carpaccio with a special marinade. For this we need salt, pepper, an orange, olive oil, a lemon, and Aperol. Here I have orange marmalade, feta, pine nuts. This is sumac, vinegar tree spice, arugula, mint, rosemary, thyme, and of course beetroot. You can also use the beetroot that's already cooked from the supermarket, but give it a try. Homemade tastes completely different. So what should we do now? We can add flavor to the beetroot while cooking, but the other one is just boiled in water. A little olive oil on the aluminum foil. You can also do the whole thing in a roasting pan with a lid. Mine is down in the basement right now. And as you might remember, my legs still aren't quite fit yet. That's why I'm using the lazier option now. A bit of pepper on top. A good pinch of salt on top. Now just take it. It doesn't matter at all which herbs you still have on your balcony. These are just the ones I still had, so that's why I'm using them now. Rosemary and thyme. This is a lemon thyme, which of course goes perfectly with my marinade. Really put a good amount on there. Since it will be removed later, having a stem inside doesn't matter. Now I'm adding 3 beets to each and seal them in small packets. And now make sure to close them nicely on top, so that all the moisture and all the flavor that develops inside from the juice really stays in our packet and gives the beetroot its flavor. These 2 packets will now go into the oven at 180 degrees with convection for a good hour. Yes, just use a toothpick to check if they're soft enough. An hour, sometimes they need an hour and 20 minutes, sometimes only 45 minutes, somewhere in between. I'll tell you right away how long mine took. They were in the oven for an hour and a half and then cooled down for another good hour. Yeah, otherwise we can't peel them, they're too hot. They should look like this, nice and soft on the outside. I'll quickly show you now how to peel one, okay? Cut it open and you'll see a totally different color. If you're wondering why he put such a strange board here, that's why. Why is he wearing gloves? Beetroot stains, cutting boards. Yes, and down here, as you can see, this is my test board from my branding iron, from my board. I tried it out a bit on here. I don't really care if it gets a bit red, and that's why I use this one instead of the Good Let It Cook cooking channel board. They're a bit seared down there, but that doesn't matter at all. It all adds flavor. By the way, I put them in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius with convection, wrapped in foil. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of beetroot. I do enjoy it from time to time, though. Sometimes it really depends on the beetroot, because sometimes it tastes a bit different. My first head chef once said beetroot tastes like licking the underside of a dock. That raises whether he ever did that or could judge it. But I understood what he meant by that, because sometimes it does have a bit of a strange taste. I work in Poland quite often, and they have a different kind of beetroot, which I haven't seen here yet. Interestingly enough, it's long and it never has that taste. And that's where I got to know beetroot again after not having used it for years. I was afraid of that strange taste. And now you can just do it. It's best to use a slicer for this. Unfortunately, I don't have one, so I'm using a mandolin. First, I need to adjust the thickness a bit, make it a little thinner. It always shreds the beetroot at the end, which is why I don't like using it. Let me show you, the slices in the back are really messed up. And when I lay it out nicely on the plate later, it looks a bit mangled. That's why I used to always use a slicer. But I just try to slice like an end piece. You have to remove those things or the plate won't look nice anymore. But I just tried a little piece. And it already has so much flavor. With all the spices we've added and everything, it's really super delicious. Is that okay? I'll grate it quickly and then I'll show you how to make the dressing. Prepare the beetroot ahead, plate it, cover with foil and wait for guests. Add marinade, then the bouquet before serving. And then you can start with the appetizer. This is a great dish if you don't have time or if you need more time for the main course. That means just laying it out nicely here, just like a beef carpaccio. I'll give you only the best slices, the rest will go to my guests later. No, of course not, everything is nice. tidy things up a bit. I just put a pan on. The pine nuts are slowly roasting now. Be careful with pine nuts, they're really expensive. Stay next to them. I've burned so many pine nuts in my career, I can't even count them anymore. Unbelievable. Now we're going to make the dressing, and for that we'll use almost a whole lemon. I'm just cutting it off to the side now because it has a ton of seeds, and I don't want all those seeds in the dressing. That's why I always cut it like this. That's the Thai way, and it works well. You can easily squeeze it out with 2 fingers like this. Then I add a splash of Aperol. A bit of the orange marmalade. This is actually a blood orange marmalade. I have to admit, you can't get it here. I bought it in Italy. But you can just use regular orange marmalade from the supermarket. That works too, giving us the needed sweetness for this dish. I'm going slow for now since I'll make fresh marinade again tonight. For now, it's just for this plate. So don't be surprised if the proportions aren't quite right at the moment. Here with this recipe, because I'll be making everything fresh again later. Now we're adding the sumac. I don't know if you've seen it before. You often find this at a really good, awesome doner place where they put a bit of mint and sumac on the doner. I'm really into that. I also really love this spice. It's the spice from the sumac tree. Look it up. You can get it at any Turkish store. It's no problem at all to get. A little bit goes in there. Now a bit of pepper goes in. A bit of oil. Pinch of sugar. Maybe also, because this jam is very sour, the other jam that you will buy now will also be very sour. It usually has zest in it. You can add a pinch of sugar and a pinch of salt. Now take the orange and cut off the front and back generously. Just cut down here. And try to cut away as little pulp as possible and as much of the white peel as possible. So peel the orange as thinly as you can. Now we want to make orange fillets. And the juice that always stays in that skeleton, I'd really like to add that to our marinade. You can usually trim a bit off the bottom here at the end, since some white remains. Be careful with the pine nuts. We don't want that to happen to us. And now always just use the knife to cut into one of these skins, and then you can either pull the knife up like you see here. Then the fillets will fall out. That's the way to waste the least. But you can also just cut here and cut there. That works too. That's a bit easier to handle, but of course you also have to throw away a bit less and, don't waste anything. After making orange fillets, this is what's left. And it still contains plenty of juice. It's a shame. We'll squeeze that in here now. Okay, they're starting to brown now. Now take the fillets again and cut them in half again so they don't get too thick. And just place a few of these fillets on top here like a star. Okay, now let's taste the dressing first to see if we have enough of everything in it. Do we have enough seeds in it? I think it's really awesome, really, really awesome. Even with this Aperol flavor, it's a summery recipe that fits perfectly with the season. Now I have to use the spoon again, but forgive me, I'm eating it myself. So we put a nice amount of the dressing on top here. Done. Crumble a bit of feta cheese on top. Now add a bit of arugula on top, freshly washed, and of course only put it on at the very end. It goes bad too quickly. Just make a little pile right in the middle. Oops. Pine nuts, of course we don't want that. That stuff is expensive. You can also add 2 spoons of marinade to the arugula since I don't like it. If the salad isn't marinated on the plate, you can always add dressing. The worst are undressed salad bouquets. Now we'll sprinkle finely chopped mint on top, just enough for a subtle accent. And you really have to try this flavor combination between the spiciness of the arugula and the sweetness of the jam with that Aperol flavor. I guarantee you none of your guests will figure out what it is. But now just crumble a little bit over here. Wonderful. A little bit of fresh pepper on top. The remaining marinade. Maybe you've seen this here. This is a vacuum bag for tonight. I'll just pour the marinade over it now and let it really soak in. If you have time, it's great if you do this. Here's my bag with the beetroot vacuum sealed for tonight. Cut it open, it's really well marinated. Excellent. And now add some nice warm pine nuts on top. And serve immediately. And your 18-euro appetizer at Metalliner is ready. All right, now I'll taste it for you. But since I've already tasted it, I already know how it tastes. And I think it's really an awesome combo. I have to tell you, I really recommend you try cooking this yourself. I think it's really, really delicious. No one would guess this is Aperol. It has such a unique flavor with the jam. Believe me, try it yourself. Your guests will be thrilled. Have fun cooking along, my dears, and enjoy the Let It Cook cooking channel. We'll see each other again next week. Like, comment, and so on. I mean, I don't have to tell you that anymore. You already know it, right? Take care. Bye. See you.